The lights flickered above Cole Abrams' head, struggling to shine through the steam and dust of the holding chamber. Gravity was weak. Every breath felt like his lungs were inflating against his ribs. His wrists were bound behind his back with magnetic cuffs, and a metallic collar dug into his neck each time he swallowed. His face was bruised, his bottom lip split open. Dried blood painted a path from his ear down to his jaw. None of it mattered. He was alive. Barely. Two tall shadows approached, wings folded behind rigid frames, talons clicking like metal on the grated floor. The Avari were striking and bird-like but predatory. Their feathers ranged from night black to ink purple, shimmering under faint light. Their faces were masked with bone-like plates that resembled ceremonial helmets, but they were very real, a fused evolution of beauty and lethality. The one in front carried himself with a pride Cole recognized instantly: officer. And not a minor one. Terran Marine, the commander rasped, voice sharp like gravel dragged across steel. You survived beyond honor. Cole lifted his chin. You say that like it's a problem. The commander stepped closer, talons scratching near Cole's cheek. Sergeant Cole Abrams. War hero, saboteur of my fleet. You destroyed a carrier that took 5 generations to perfect. Cole breathed out slow. Should have taken 6. A swift backhand from a wing joint slammed into Cole's face. Stars burst across his vision. The commander didn't like insolence, good. Cole wasn't done giving it. But the striking wasn't punishment. It was ritual. The commander leaned in, eyes narrowing. You will learn the grace of captivity. Cole spat blood on the floor between them. I don't learn well. That earned the Avari's equivalent of a smirk, a slow ripple of feathers around the neck. We shall see. 2 guards dragged Cole upward, forcing him onto unsteady feet. Weak gravity made him sway. Even weak, he stood taller than most Avari. Humans were built for survival. His dark brown eyes didn't flinch, not once. That alone made some in the alien crew uneasy. The commander, Grand Talon Voryx, led Cole through narrow corridors carved into the rock of the asteroid. The walls were marbled with glowing blue veins, energy conduits pulsing like arteries. The structure hummed, alive with power. Outside thick viewports, Cole saw fragments of the colony. Shattered platforms, mining rigs torn apart by bombardment, broken defense turrets floating in drifting debris. The Terran Marines had fought here. He'd been the last one standing. He remembered the chaos, the explosion that separated him from his squad, his comm going silent, his helmet cracking, the oxygen leak. The prayer whispered into the void, not yet. Please, not yet. Some force had hurt him. Or maybe it was just stubborn human biology. Either way, he survived, and the Avari captured him like a trophy. Cole kept walking, studying everything: vents, security grids, camera positions. If he wasn't getting out today, there would be a tomorrow. Unless there wasn't, they threw him into a cell, a rectangular chamber lit by a single vertical beam of light. The door sealed with a low mechanical growl. Voryx stayed, standing behind a transparent barrier of shimmering energy. Human, he said. Why do your kind kneel to invisible masters? Cole blinked. Come again? We observed your ritual before we seized you, Voryx continued. Hands clasped. Whispering to nothing, Cole swallowed. So they'd heard him pray. He felt a pulse of defiance swell in his chest. That wasn't to nothing, he answered quietly. That was faith. Voryx tilted his head, feathers ruffling. Faith in what? Cole stared at the dim beam of light above him and spoke as if to the void itself. In one who doesn't need to be seen to be real. The Avari commander scoffed, but not mockingly. More curiously, you believe your survival was granted by this one? Cole shrugged. If I'm still breathing? Someone wants me here. Perhaps I did, Voryx replied dryly. Cole smirked. You're not that powerful. Another ripple of feathers, irritation and amusement at once. Then Voryx turned to leave. You will break, he said simply. Cole replied without hesitation. I already did. Still here? The door sealed shut, leaving Cole with silence and a heartbeat that refused to quit. Hours passed. Or days. Time blurred. Cole's body hurt everywhere, but his mind sharpened. He assessed every detail, every weakness in the structure. The magnetic cuffs? Standard Avari issue, overloaded with enough kinetic force they'd fracture. The shielded door? Reinforced against outside breach, not inside sabotage. The guards? Honor-bound, predictable. All he needed was one opportunity, and opportunities came to those who didn't give up. The first came unexpectedly. Explosions rocked the colony. Alarms blared, red light pulsing through the corridors. Cole jolted upright. Something attacked them, and another faction. Terran reinforcements, pirates? The barrier around his cell dropped for a heartbeat. A system glitch. A single breath's worth of freedom. Not enough to escape, but enough to see panic on Avari faces. Commanders shouted orders. Voryx was among them, towering above his flock. Shields to the northwest barricade. He screeched. Regain formation. Protect the core. The guards near Cole hesitated. They were frightened, disoriented. Cole saw it immediately. The Avari fought well in formation. But alone, they faltered. A nearby Avari soldier stumbled, almost crushed by falling debris. Without thinking, Cole lunged forward and caught him, even with cuffs on. The soldier stared, stunned at a human saving him. Cole shoved him back toward safety. Move, he barked. Two things happened simultaneously. Cole saved an Avari life. Every other Avari witnessed a prisoner giving orders, and they obeyed. It lasted seconds, but it meant everything. By the time the shields reactivated and Cole collapsed back inside his cell, breaths ragged, something fundamental had changed. They looked at him differently. Later, Grand Talon Voryx returned. He stared long at Cole, eyes full of suspicion, and something deeper. You should have left him to die, Voryx said. A Terran aiding an enemy, that is illogical. Cole leaned back against the cold wall. Maybe to you, but he was scared, lost, and I was the one standing. You risked yourself, for a foe. Cole didn't reply immediately. He thought about his squad, the ones he couldn't save. He swallowed hard. Everyone deserves a chance to live, he said. Even the ones holding you prisoner. Voryx's feathers twitched. Discomfort or admiration, Cole couldn't tell. Your species confuses us, Voryx muttered. You are violent and yet compassionate. Weak and yet unbreakable. Cole gave a small grin. Welcome to humanity. Voryx's stare sharpened. You are not commander here. Cole returned the stare with equal steel. Then why did your soldiers listen when I told them to move? Silence, heavy, unpleasant, true. Something in Voryx shifted. The first crack in absolute authority. This conversation is over, he snapped, turning his back. But his steps were slower than before. Cole closed his eyes once the room darkened again. He was exhausted, but his spirit burned. He whispered into the silence, this is not the end. Thank you, not to chance, not to luck, to the one listening. Cole wasn't given time to recover. Two guards barged into his cell. Wings flared, talons clicking, and wrenched him to his feet. He barely had a moment to breathe before they shoved him out into a wider chamber. A tactical command center. Dozens of Avari officers circled a holographic projection of the asteroid's outer defenses. Lines of electric blue light mapped out intrusion points. Symbols pulsed like frantic heartbeats. Grand Talon Voryx stood in the center, feathers flared, anxious, hiding it poorly. Cole forced his legs steady. Weak gravity made him dizzy, but he held his posture like a soldier reporting for duty, even as a prisoner. Voryx turned his sharp gaze on Cole. Human, you encountered the enemy before capture, speak. Cole smirked internally. Not a request, a command. But Voryx didn't realize the power he'd given away already. Show me what you're facing, Cole said, chin raised. A beat of hesitation, and then Voryx gestured with one wing. The hologram expanded. A new cluster of crimson shapes flickered into view, swarming like insects around the colony perimeter. Cole's brow furrowed. Those silhouettes. He recognized them. Zerlock raiders, he said. Scavengers. They hit power stations, harvest resources, leave bodies for dogs. Pirates of deep space. We are aware of their nature, Voryx snapped. Cole stepped closer to the projections. Guards tensed, but Voryx held up a hand. The human continued. What you don't know, he said quietly, is they're not here to raid. They're here to erase. The chamber fell silent. Cole pointed to a faint signal marked in amber, orbiting the colony like a watchful predator. They brought a fission catalyst, big one. Once they breach the core chambers, they'll activate it. This whole rock goes supernova. No survivors. Many Avari recoiled, feathers rippling in instinctive fear. Vorix's eyes narrowed. How do you possess this knowledge? Cole lifted his bound wrists. I've hunted them, studied them, survived them, long before you clipped my wings. A second of locked tension. Then Cole added, voice low, confident. You're already losing. Unless you listen. The command room crackled with disbelief. Vorix circled him like a hawk evaluating a threat. You would help us, he asked, after we made you a trophy? Cole's jaw flexed. Memories flashed. Screams of his squad, fire consuming metal, his own near death. He closed his eyes a moment. War doesn't change what's right, Cole replied. And I'll be damned if I let another colony get wiped out without a fight. Vorix's stare sharpened. Perhaps you wish to destroy us yourself. If that's what I wanted, Cole said, voice hard, I would have let your soldier die. A subtle murmur spread across the Avari. A ripple of wings, something between respect and awe. Vorix didn't like it, not one bit. They shoved Cole into light armor, Avari design awkward on a human body. The magnetic cuffs remained, but loosened enough to allow arm movement. Vorix handed him a helmet shaped like a curved beak, visor tinted deep violet. Cole refused it. I need to see my surroundings, he said. Vorix hesitated, then nodded once. That was trust, tiny but real. They moved to an interior loading platform. Cole studied the Avari soldiers, their posture, their eyes. They were afraid. The Zerlok were relentless. Cole sighed, rubbing a hand against his temple. Listen up, he called out. He didn't shout like a drill sergeant. He spoke like someone who understood fear, and how to rise above it. You think fear is weakness? Wrong. Fear keeps you alive. It demands you make a choice. The soldiers turned toward him, one by one, drawn to the fire in his voice. The Zerlok? They're not ghosts. They bleed. They break. And today, he paused, scanning their faces. We make them regret thinking you're prey. Talons clicked. Feathers stilled. A silent alignment formed. Even Vorix watched with an unreadable expression. Then Cole added softly, not to them but to the one listening. Give them strength. Through me. The platform shuddered as the shuttle engines powered up. The hatch opened with a thunderous hiss. Cold air rushed in, tasting of ozone and dust. The battle awaited. They descended into a valley of shattered mining rigs. The Zerlok forces moved like shadows, sleek reptilian silhouettes across the debris, eyes glowing with predatory hunger. The Avari troops landed in scattered formation, wings trembling under fear. Cole's voice cut through the chaos. Tighten the line. Shoulder to shoulder. Formation first. They obeyed. Not Vorix's orders, his. Energy blasts ripped the ground near their feet. The Avari fired back wildly, losing focus. Cole grabbed a fallen beam and slammed it against rock, shouting, Hold your aim. They want your panic. Don't give it. He pointed toward the high ridge. 3 snipers up there. Vorix, take them. Without waiting, Vorix launched upward. Wings slicing the thin air, talons sparking with kinetic charge. 3 shots, 3 kills. The commander landed, eyes locked with Cole's, not rivals, not enemies. Warriors, a Zerlok brute charged from a blind spot. Cole didn't hesitate. He leapt onto its back, wrapping his cuffed arms around its throat, using the alien's own momentum to flip and slam it into the ground. His boot snapped across its jaw. It screeched, spine cracking. Cole finished it with a single stomp. Avari soldiers stared and stunned. Their prisoner had just saved them. Again. Cole spat dust and blood. Don't freeze, fight. They roared, raw, primal, unified. The Avari surged as one force, their blasts carving through raiders. The Zerlok line began to collapse. Cole's chest heaved, adrenaline burning through fatigue. He whispered under his breath, still here. Someone wants me here. But it wasn't over. A monstrous shape emerged from the smoke. A Zerlok titan, scales like molten obsidian. Its weapon, a plasma axe half the size of a shuttle wing. It roared, a thunderous cry of dominance. The Avari stepped back in terror. Cole stepped forward. Commander, he said to Vorix without looking away from the beast, if we fall here, your whole colony dies. What do you propose? Vorix asked, voice tight. Trust me, Cole charged. The Titan swung rig a blazing arc of death. Cole dropped, sliding beneath the strike as heat scorched his skin. He grabbed a discarded shock spear and jammed it into the raider's side. Sparks erupted. The Titan staggered, roaring. Now, Cole yelled. Vorax launched with lethal precision. His talons plunged deep into the Titan's throat. A gush of molten ichor sprayed the ground. The beast toppled. Silence, only the hum of dying weapons remained. The raiders retreated, terrified of the force that had just broken them. A human and an Avari, side by side. When the dust settled and the wounded were carried away, the Avari circled Cole, wings tucked, heads bowed slightly. It wasn't submission. It was acknowledgement. A guard knelt before Cole, offering him a blade, a symbol of warrior honor among the Avari. Vorax stepped forward, towering over Cole. "You are still a prisoner," the commander said, but his voice lacked certainty. Cole wiped blood from his forehead. "And you're still breathing because I'm here." The moment stretched, feathers rustling, breathing shallow. Finally, Vorax spoke quietly. "Who are you, Terran?" Cole stared into the alien leader's eyes, unflinching. "A soldier," he said. "A survivor. A believer," he raised his chin. "And the one who's going to keep you alive." Vorax didn't respond, but he didn't argue. That night, alone in a temporary holding tent, Cole stared at the stars through a cracked viewport. Millions of lights scattered across endless black. He whispered, and half prayer, half promise, "I don't know why you saved me, but I'm here. I'll do what I must." The silence of the universe felt like an answer. A presence, a purpose, not luck, not accident, destiny. The asteroid colony's artificial dawn flickered weakly across metal walls, a feeble attempt at normalcy after the chaos. But nothing felt normal now. Not after yesterday. Cole sat on the floor of a reinforced tent, still cuffed, armor scorched from battle. His breathing was slow, measured. He hadn't slept much. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw fire, collapsing stone, screams swallowed by vacuum. His squad, his friends gone. He clenched his fists until the cuffs dug into his skin. He wasn't going to break down. Not in front of captors. Not in front of anyone. But the ache was there, buried under iron resolve. A shadow fell across him. Vorax entered, wings folded, posture stiff. Not the stride of a victorious commander, but a conflicted one. "Your wounds should be tended," Vorax said, eyes scanning the bruises mottling Cole's arms and ribs. Cole snorted. "You offering medical coverage in the prisoner package now?" Vorax ignored the sarcasm. "You fought well," he admitted. The words tasted bitter. Cole nodded once. "So did your soldiers." They listened. Vorax's feathers twitched. Offense or unease? Maybe both. "They listened to you," he said. "Not me." Cole didn't respond. He didn't need to. The truth hung heavy. For the first time in Avari history, a human had commanded their warriors, and they obeyed. Not from hierarchy, not from fear, from belief. Vorax paced, talons scraping metallic flooring. "You confuse them. You disrupt order." He snapped his beak mask toward Cole. "You are a prisoner. Nothing more." Cole let the silence stretch, then said softly, "Then stop treating me like a leader." If Vorax had teeth, he would have gritted them. "You test the boundaries of mercy," the commander warned. Cole leaned his head back against the wall. "I'm testing the boundaries of survival." The two stared, neither willing to look away. Hours later, Vorax ordered Cole be brought to the colony's main operations bay, a massive chamber hollowed from the asteroid's heart. It thrummed with plasma conduits and hovering consoles. Avari officers turned as Cole entered, not with sneers or mockery, but anticipation. Cole caught the looks, like soldiers awaiting their captain. It unsettled him. Vorax noticed too. He slammed a claw against a console. "You will not look to the human for guidance. I command this dominion." No one dared respond verbally, but their feathers betrayed them. The subtle tilt, the locked focus, the yearning for direction. Not from Vorax, from the Terran in chains. The commander breathed hard. Wings flared in dominance, but dominance without control is nothing but noise. He gestured for a hologram to display. The projection showed a dense subterranean network beneath the colony, tunnels lit with flickering red. "In 16 hours, Vorax said, the Zerlock will attempt another breach. We will defend the core chamber." Cole stepped forward to study the map. The guards tensed but didn't stop him. He traced a route along the lower mining shafts. "No," he muttered. "This is wrong." Vorax's feathers bristled. "Explain." Cole turned and pointed at the officers. They will flank you. Split your defenses. You'll be too slow to regroup. A murmur swept through the chamber. Arrogance battled with reason in Vorix's stare. He wanted to deny it, but Cole's logic was undeniable. Cole breathed in slowly, then delivered the truth. You try that plan, and you all die. Cold silence. Vorix's talons dug into the metal. You claim superior strategy? He snarled. No, Cole said. I claim experience. He pointed to a secondary tunnel. Narrow, winding, partially collapsed. They'll come through here. It's the only path that leads straight to the core without heavy resistance. Vorix stared, conflicted, furious, but listening. And what would you have us do? He asked. Cole hesitated. He wasn't their leader. He didn't want to be. Every instinct screamed at him to escape, to fight back, to survive on human terms. Yet, he remembered the terrified Avari soldier he'd saved. He remembered the fire in their eyes when they rallied. He remembered his prayer. If I'm still breathing, someone wants me here. Cole exhaled. Ambush them, he said. Collapse the tunnel. Trap them before they reach the core. An officer raised a wing. We would be sealing our own escape. Cole met his gaze. Then don't plan on retreating. Another silence, heavier this time. The kind before a storm. Honor, courage, sacrifice. Concepts the Avari revered. Concepts Cole embodied. A concept Vorix feared. Vorix dismissed the soldiers with a sharp gesture. Once the room emptied, he approached Cole directly, face inches away. You twist my command from beneath my wings, he hissed. Cole kept his voice steady. I'm trying to keep you alive. Why? Vorix demanded. Cole swallowed, the ache in his chest rising again. Because I couldn't save the last ones, he said quietly. I won't fail again. Vorix froze, an emotion flashing across his avian features. Understanding. Cole looked away, breathing, uneven. I prayed before your soldiers dragged me out of that rubble. I asked, for one more chance to make something right. He looked Vorix dead in the eyes. This is it. The commander stepped back, shaken. Not by fear, by revelation. This one you believe in? Vorix whispered. You think he saved you for us? Cole shrugged slightly. Who else? Vorix didn't respond. His feathers lay flat, uncertain. Later, when Cole was escorted back to his cell, he noticed something different. The guards didn't tighten the cuffs. They didn't push or threaten. One even bowed his head slightly. They were beginning to treat him not as a prisoner, but as a protector. Cole sat on the cold metal floor, heart pounding with conflicting emotions. He wasn't built for ruling. He wasn't a saint. He was a grunt, a soldier who just refused to die quietly. He leaned his head back, whispering to the unseen presence above. If this is your plan, help me not screw it up. Meanwhile, Vorix stood alone on a high platform overlooking the colony interior. Below, thousands of Avari prepared for the next assault, wings sharpening, weapons heating. His authority was fracturing. He clenched his talons. Cole Abrams had done the impossible. He had earned loyalty without demanding it. He had inspired courage without claiming leadership. He had given hope where there was only survival. And hope to the Avari Dominion might be the most dangerous weapon of all. Vorix whispered into the hollow darkness. If the human falls, we fall with him. His wings slowly folded. In surrender or respect, even he did not know. The subterranean air was thick, hot, metallic, tinged with the stink of overheating plasma. The tunnel stretched ahead like the throat of a dying beast, carved with clawed machinery centuries old. Cole stood among the Avari strike unit, the ones chosen to ambush the Zerlock. The magnetic cuffs were finally removed. His wrists burned with freedom. He flexed his fingers, blood rushing back like desperate prisoners escaping metal cells. Avari soldiers tightened formation around him. They waited for his word, not Vorix's. That weighed on Cole more than he expected. He adjusted the alien combat harness strapped awkwardly to his chest, feeling every bruise beneath it. He scanned the ceiling, low, unstable, perfect for a collapse. The explosive charges placed by the Avari engineers blinked faint blue. Ready. Cole turned to the nearest soldier, a young avian with silver feathers and nervous eyes. Name? Cole asked. The soldier blinked, startled. A human addressed him like a person and not a tool. Talek, Wingguard First Tier, Cole nodded. You scared, Talek? Talek swallowed. Fear is forbidden. Cole shook his head. Fear is proof you know what's at stake. Fear keeps you sharp. Alive. The young soldier stared, a flicker of relief crossing his eyes. He wasn't weak. He was normal. Cole crouched, checking the charge placements again. When he rose, he caught several Avari watching him as if waiting for guidance, reassurance. Faith. He didn't know if he deserved it. He wasn't a commander. He wasn't even a free man. He was just a soldier doing what soldiers do. Protect, survive, pray. A shadow landed behind him, silent as a falling leaf. Vorik stood tall, wings half unfurled, gaze tense. Ambush is prepared, Vorik said. All units are in position. Cole nodded slightly. Good. You will remain behind me, Vorik insisted. Cole looked him dead in the eyes. No. Feathers bristled. Shock. Offense. I fight at the front, Cole said. I'm not letting fear dictate my position. You are no longer in command of this life, Vorik hissed. You never were, Cole replied. The commander stared long, then slowly, wings folded tight. You confuse me, human, he muttered. Cole cracked a faint smile. Join the club. Minutes dripped like slow venom as they awaited the enemy. Cole leaned his back against the rocky wall and closed his eyes. His hands clasped together, unconsciously at first, then intentionally. Talek noticed. Are you repairing your weapons? Cole opened his eyes. No, I'm praying. Talek tilted his head. To another human commander. No, Cole said softly. To one above all commanders. Talek's feathers fluttered in confusion. But we cannot see this being. Cole glanced upward toward the rock ceiling. Beyond it, stars unseen. I don't need to see the sun to know it rises, he whispered. Talek stared at him for a long moment, then bowed his head, imitating the posture. Cole felt his throat tighten. He wasn't trying to convert anyone. He wasn't preaching. But his faith, his reliance on something greater, was becoming a beacon in a place built of fear. Watch over them, Cole whispered. Even if they don't know why. It was not a speech. It was a plea, a tremor. Distant metal shrieked. The Zerlok were coming. Weapons readied with a rising hum. The Avari brandished spears of crackling plasma and rail rifles that thudded with electromagnetic charge. Cole grabbed a short-barreled repeater, alien tech he had learned quickly. The tunnel lights began to flicker, one by one failing into black. Talek breathed fast. They are cutting the power. Cole raised his voice just enough for those nearby to hear. Good. Let darkness hide what they fear. Shapes emerged from the far shadows, crawling like armored nightmares, eyes glowing red as cracked coals, dozens, then hundreds. Xerlok, energy crackled. Claws scraped. The death wave approached. Cole lifted the rifle. Hold, he growled. The Avari braced, feathers slicked tight to bodies. Hold. The first raider hissed, blade rising. Now! The tunnel erupted in fire. Avari blast pierced chitin armor. Screams, alien and monstrous, echoed like thunder against rock. The Zerlok front line collapsed, bodies piling, but more swarmed. Cole sprinted ahead, ducking a plasma blade and slamming his rifle stock into a raider's jaw, teeth shattering. A Avari soldier was pinned. Cole fired point blank, saving him. Regroup. Watch the walls! Talek shouted orders just as Cole taught him, formation shifting with deadly grace. The Avari fought not as insects or flocks, but as soldiers. One tunnel wall buckled. A Zerlok brute burst through, massive claws swinging. Vorik launched himself at it, talons slicing. The brute roared and stumbled. Cole leapt, jamming his rifle barrel into its throat and firing until the beast collapsed in a smoking heap. Breathing heavy, Cole locked eyes with Vorik's. They nodded once. Allies. Yet the swarm did not end. More shadows approached, thicker, armored heavily. A fission-sinking device strapped to their backs pulsed unnaturally bright. They weren't here to win. They were here to detonate. Cole shouted the only command that made sense. Detonate the charges, now! The Avari engineer froze. Hands trembled inches above the trigger. Talek spun toward Cole. But our warriors! We are still inside. Cole's heart hammered. Decision flooded him like fire. Sacrifice one battalion, or lose the entire colony. His voice cut like steel. We die here, or they all die above. Vorik hesitated, wings half extended. pride cracking under the weight of truth. Cole grabbed the detonator from the engineer's shaking grip. "I'll do it," he whispered. Then he yelled, "Fall back!" He slammed the trigger. A roaring quake shattered the tunnel, rock collapsing in a tidal surge of destruction. Energy erupted, blinding light devouring the Zerlock vanguard. Cole sprinted, but the explosion caught him. Heat tore across his back, stone smashing into his ribs. The world spun, darkness swallowing him. Silence fell somewhere far away. Human. "Wait," a voice, feathers brushing metal. Cole's eyes cracked open. Voryx knelt over him, dust coating his armor. Talek and several others stood behind, alive and barely. "What happened?" Cole muttered, throat raw. "You ended the threat," Voryx said. Cole tried to move, pain searing through his chest. The commander steadied him with one wing. "You risked your life for us." "Again," Voryx said softly. Cole managed a weak laugh. "I told you, I'm not letting fear choose for me." Voryx's gaze narrowed, studying the human's bruised, battered form. "This faith, this courage, it is not natural." Cole whispered through labored breaths, "It's human." The surviving Avari gathered around, feathers lowered in solemn honor. One by one, they knelt. Before him, Cole froze, breath gone. "No," he whispered. "I'm not," Talek spoke, conviction trembling in his voice. "You lead us. You saved us. We follow." Then another voice. "Commander Abrams." Then another. "Commander." Then many. "Commander." Cole's chest tightened, not with pride, but fear. He looked up, dust drifting like stars fallen from heaven. Quiet, desperate, honest. "God, what are you making me?" Artificial night cloaked the Avari outpost, a darkness interrupted only by crimson warning lights pulsing like a heartbeat. Deep beneath the asteroid's metallic skin, a war was about to ignite again. Cole's hands were free now. No cuffs, no restraints. Not officially released, but no longer a prisoner either. A warrior. He stood with a battalion of armored Avari soldiers inside a narrow mining corridor, jagged rock walls vibrating with distant tremors. Plasma rifles powered, wings flexing, nerves razor-sharp. He scanned the tension building in every chest, fears and faith wrestling for control. Cole adjusted the alien combat vest they'd given him. It fit awkwardly but felt right. He tightened the strap over a cracked rib. Voryx stood ahead of him, tall, rigid, and trembling ever so slightly. Cole leaned close and said low, "When they come, your soldiers will look to you first. Don't show them doubt." Voryx's throat clicked, a sign of emotional strain in Avari physiology. "You are the reason they believe we might survive this," Voryx replied quietly. Cole smirked, trying to lighten the weight. "Then let's not disappoint them." The ground shivered, like the asteroid itself was afraid. Avari sharpened weapons. Cole raised his human-made shock baton, salvaged, blood-stained, loyal. Voryx whispered, "Zerlock." From the darkness ahead, silhouettes appeared, twitching insectoid nightmares with armored exoskeletons. Their mandibles dripped like molten bone. They crawled low, fast, silent. Then, shriek! The sound tore through steel and bone. Cole shouted, "Hold!" "Not yet." An Avari soldier panicked and opened fire. The tunnel exploded into chaos. A wave of Zerlock surged forward, a tide of claws and hunger. Cole tackled the panicking soldier aside and smashed the first alien insect square in the skull, sparks scattering. "Focus fire, front arc only," he yelled. They obeyed instantly. Plasma bolts ripped through the swarm's front ranks, bottlenecking the creatures. The smell of burning chitin filled the air. Cole moved like he was born in battle, boots steady, eyes calm, rage controlled. Every strike had purpose. Every command saved a life. And the Avari saw it. They didn't see a human. They saw hope. But the Zerlock were evolving. A monstrous shape emerged behind the swarm, towering, armored like a fortress of living bone, eyes burning with predatory intelligence. A Zerlock Prime. Its roar shook the corridor, fragments falling from the ceiling. Cole stared into those hateful eyes and muttered under his breath, "Someone really wants to test me," Voryx heard. "You speak to empty air, human?" Cole shook his head once. "No, I speak to the one who put me here," the Prime charged. Cole reacted without thinking, grabbing Voryx and shoving him aside just as a massive claw sliced through where the commander had stood. Dust and sparks filled the tunnel. The Avari hesitated, wings folded tight in terror. Cole roared over the noise, "Stand and fight!" Not a plea, a command, and every Avari obeyed. Even while fear tore at Cole's ribs, he fought harder, not because he wanted glory, not because they were allies, but because a voice inside him whispered, "Not luck. Someone wanted me to live." He vaulted onto a fallen beam, swung his baton, and drove it into a weak joint behind the Prime's mandible. Electricity blasted through its body. The beast shrieked in pain and fury. "Voryx!" Cole yelled. "Take your squad. Collapse the side wall." Now, Voryx didn't question. He didn't hesitate. He trusted. His strike team triggered charges, blowing the weakened stone structure. Boulders crashed down, trapping the Prime's lower limbs. "We've got a window," Cole shouted. Every rifle aimed. Every trigger fired. A torrent of plasma hammered the Prime's exposed chest until the beast fell silent, steaming and broken. Cheers erupted, Avari screeches echoing with victory. But Cole didn't cheer. He listened. The ground was still trembling. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Voryx stepped beside him, gazing at the human like one would a legend. "Your god," he rasped, "must favor warriors." Cole breathed hard. "He favors the ones who keep going when they're terrified." Voryx tilted his head. "Fear does not stop you?" "Oh, it stops me," Cole whispered. "I just fight anyway." Voryx stared. Then something inside him cracked, a dam of pride flooding into respect. He placed a clawed hand against his own chest, the highest Avari gesture of honor. "From this moment, you are no longer prisoner. You are brother in arms." Cole felt a heavy pressure behind his eyes, a memory of fallen brothers. But he held his composure. He nodded. "Then let's save your people." Voryx extended a ceremonial blade, Avari steel, curved and wing-etched. "Command us." Cole didn't reach for it, not yet. He looked down the dark tunnel, listening to the distant chittering that hadn't stopped. He whispered a silent prayer. "If I'm still breathing, guide me." His voice strengthened. "We're not done. The swarm is regrouping." He turned to the soldiers, 1,000 alien eyes locked on the human. "We make our stand at the core chamber. Hold the line. No retreat." Their wings rose, a chorus of loyalty. Cole Abrams, once their trophy, now their commander. Not by rank, not by force, by conviction. The core chamber loomed ahead, a massive circular vault carved deep inside the asteroid. Glowing data rods pulsed like arteries, carrying power to shields, life support. Everything keeping the colony alive. Cole ran his hand over one of the rods, humming energy beneath alien alloy. "This is what they want," he said. "Cut this off, and the colony suffocates." Avari soldiers took defensive positions among stacked mineral crates and reinforced barricades. Red lights pulsed faster, countdown to impact. Voryx approached with a tactical display. "They swarm through the lower shafts. They will break through in minutes." Cole nodded. He could already feel the tremors sharpening. "Good, let them come." Voryx stared at him, feathers ruffled. "You speak as if certain of victory." Cole exhaled slowly. "I'm certain of one thing. If we fall together. No one runs." The Avari around him absorbed those words like oxygen. Their fear didn't vanish, it transformed. That was leadership. Not demanding loyalty, but inspiring courage. Cole turned to Voryx. "You trust me?" Voryx stood tall. "I do. Then do exactly what I say." He knelt, picking up a fallen Avari rifle. Awkward grip, different weight. But he adjusted instantly. He remembered training simulations back home. He remembered a friend's voice laughing, "Adapt, bro. A good Marine can turn a spoon into a weapon." He smiled faintly, bittersweet. The floor shuddered, cracks spreading like lightning. Cole whispered, "They're right beneath us." Thud. The metal bulged. Thud. Screeches filled the chamber, rising like a nightmare choir. "Positions!" Cole commanded. Weapons raised. The floor exploded. A fountain of rock and metal surged upward. Zerlock warriors swarming out of the breach. Screams and plasma fire collided into chaos instantly. Cole fired controlled bursts. Each shot a pulse of deadly precision. He wasn't fastest. He wasn't strongest. But he thought while fighting. A Zerlock leapt toward him, mandibles wide. But Cole stepped aside, slammed the alien rifle upward, and blasted it into silence. He grabbed another soldier under falling debris, dragging him clear. "Stay with me!" Cole shouted. Not an order, a promise. The soldier nodded, faith steady. Vorik slashed through a Zerlock attacker but stumbled, a wound leaking silver across the floor. Another insectoid lunged to finish him. Cole didn't think, he dove. His body hit the ground hard, ribs screaming, but he raised his rifle and fired point blank at the creature's skull. The blast showered them in sparks and black ichor. He helped Vorik stand. "You're too important to die," Vorik breathed raggedly. "So are you." Cole laughed breathlessly. "Nah, I'm just stubborn." Then a deep metallic groan. The breach widened. Dozens more Zerlock poured in. Cole's expression hardened, a commander seeing the real danger. "We can't hold them like this," he muttered. A young Avari soldier, eyes wide, looked at him. "We are losing!" Cole grabbed him by the vest, pulling him close. "No, you're breathing. That means you're still in the fight." The soldier froze, fear burning into determination. Cole released him and called out, "Bring the charges." Engineers rushed over with heavy demolition packs, glowing with volatile plasma. Cole knelt, inspecting them. "If this goes wrong," Vorik said quietly, "the core will detonate." Cole didn't look up. If we do nothing, everyone dies anyway. Scary truth, but truth that saved lives. He set the charges around the breach, each placed with precision. Vorik limped up behind him. "When do we ignite?" Cole stood, turning to face the swarm closing in, his blue eyes hard but alive. "When the last soldier is clear." Vorik stared, feathers trembling. "You intend to remain here?" Cole inhaled, steadying the fear churning inside him. If someone doesn't hold them back, those charges never go off. Vorix's voice cracked. "You stay, we lose our commander." Cole shook his head. "You have one." "It's you." The alien looked stunned, breath caught, wings falling open in disbelief. Cole placed a hand on Vorix's shoulder, heavy with meaning. "They follow you because you brought me this far. Now finish the job." Vorix's eyes shined, some emotion older than pride. "You speak like a believer." Cole looked up, at the ceiling, beyond it, toward stars no one could see. "Yeah," he whispered, "because I'm not standing alone." The swarm gathered for a final devastating assault. Cole turned toward it, one man against an army. He gripped his rifle tighter, breath shaking but steady. Soldiers stared at him, silent, reverent. He raised 2 fingers in a Terran gesture of command. But his voice was prayer and battle mixed as one. "No one moves until I say. We hold, we protect, and we live." And every Avari felt it. Humanity wasn't fragile. Humanity was unstoppable. The Zerlock swarm gathered at the breach, a living avalanche of claws and rage. Their screeches bounced off steel, echoing like death's laughter. Cole inhaled slow, steady. His heartbeat synced with the pulsing alarms. His grip tightened on the alien rifle. He whispered, barely audible, "If this is your plan, I trust you fall back," he commanded. Not fear and strategy. Avari warriors began retreating through the side exits, wings trailing sparks as they flew fast. Many glanced back at Cole, some reaching hands as if wanting to drag him too. Cole shouted louder, "Move!" "That's an order!" They obeyed, not because they wanted to leave him, but because they believed in him. Vorix was the last to go, refusing to step away. "I do not abandon my own," he said. Cole stared straight ahead. "You lead them now. Don't waste the miracle that kept us breathing." Vorix's voice wavered. "You speak as though this is farewell." Cole smirked, the kind soldiers wear before impossible battles. "I've said goodbye too many times. This time, I'm just doing my job." Vorix bowed his head, a single tear-like droplet falling to the ground, sizzling on the hot metal. "Walk with honor, human." Cole nodded. "You too, Commander." Vorix finally turned and left, wings trembling as the blast doors sealed shut behind him. Cole stood alone. One man, against a storm of monsters. The swarm surged forward, claws scraping, bodies slamming into the debris. Cole opened fire. Every shot precise, every second brought a life above. He felt ribs stabbing his lungs. His arms burned. His vision blurred. But he did not step back, not once. He switched to his baton when the rifle overheated, electricity crackling with every impact. Alien corpses piled around him, and still they came. Screams, sparks, blood, black, steaming, acrid. His knees buckled, but sheer will yanked him upright again. "Not done." He jammed the last detonator into a charge and armored fingers trembling. A Zerlock brute slammed into him, sending him sliding across the floor. His baton skittered away, lost. The brute lifted him by the throat, mandibles dripping. Cole choked, spots flashing in his eyes. He forced his hand into his vest, gripping the detonator. The brute leaned close, hiss sharp in his ear. Cole rasped through crushed breath. Humanity says no. He slammed the trigger. The world went white. A deafening blast swallowed the chamber. Stone, metal, and alien bodies disintegrating in roaring light. Shockwaves tore through the core. Fire spiraled upward like a star being born underground. Above, Avari soldiers stumbled as the asteroid trembled violently. Voryx turned, wings flaring in horror as the blast door glowed molten red. "Cole!" The roar subsided into crushing silence. Smoke and dust rolled through the tunnels. Sparks fell like dying stars. The breach was gone, sealed, silent. Avari stared, awe and pain carved into every face. Voryx dropped to his knees, claws digging into the metal floor. His voice broke, primal, raw. He gave everything. For us? Dozens of Avari bowed their heads. Warriors, proud, cold, now grieving. Voryx whispered shakily, "A god who sends such a man must be mighty." In the silence, a single ember flickered behind the melted door, then died. The chamber lights dimmed. Cole Abrams, White, the human commander, was gone, but deep beneath the collapsed ruins, a faint gasp, a weak pulse. Cole's fingers twitched beneath the rubble. He wasn't finished yet, not by a long shot. Silence, heavy, crushing, endless. Cole drifted inside darkness, a darkness that felt alive, pressing into his skull, whispering to give up. Pain flickered everywhere. Heat singed his lungs. Dust suffocated his mouth. He tried to move and nothing. A slab of metal pinned him down. For a moment he wondered if this was death. Then he inhaled, shallow but real. Still breathing, his lips pulled into a grim smile. Someone wanted me to live. Cole forced one arm upward, muscles screaming like torn cables, pushing against the debris. It didn't budge. He closed his eyes tight. Images flashed. His squad burning, his brothers gone, the asteroid collapsing around him. Every failure like a knife reopening. Then the Avari faces, those who followed him. Those who believed in him. Those he chose to protect. "Get up, Marine." He growled under his breath. Not a prayer. Not a request. A refusal. He heaved again, veins bulging, ribs stabbing, until metal shifted with a groan. He squeezed out from under twisted beams, coughing violently. Air tasted like burned machinery and insect blood, a reminder of what he'd done. He struggled to his knees, head swimming. Vision a blur, but he was alive, and that meant the fight wasn't over. His comm unit crackled, static, then a broken voice. "Corto stable. Enemy retreating. Commander Voryx to all units. Human, hero." Cole chuckled bitterly. "Not dead yet, Featherhead." He staggered to his feet, each step a test of will. The corridor was half collapsed, glowing embers scattered like stars fallen from the ceiling. He picked up a shard of metal, crude but sharp, gripping it like a blade. His internal monologue sharpened. Leadership isn't surviving instead of your soldiers. Leadership is surviving for them. He limped deeper through the ruins and following faint emergency lights. Meanwhile, Avari Command Deck Asteroid Colony. Upper levels Voryx stood center deck. Armor scorched, wings wrapped in bandages. Command screens flickered with warnings. Tunnel network destabilized. Swarm movement detected. Power grid at 22%. Officers argued, fear rising. "We must evacuate. The human is gone. We cannot win. Zerlock, gather for a final assault." Voryx slammed both fists on the table. Silence cut through panic like a blade. "Cole Abrams sealed that breach with his life," he growled. "We do not run from his sacrifice." A young soldier stepped forward, trembling. He changed us." Voryx nodded slowly. "He showed us fear can be mastered." Another voice spoke, an older, wiser. "But a leader must live to lead." Voryx's eyes dimmed with grief. He turned away, whispering, "And I let him die." Back in the ruins, Cole's footsteps echoed, uneven but relentless. He muttered to himself, voice dripping iron, "Not done. Not done." Then he heard it, a sharp clicking, multiple, surrounding. He froze. Figures lurked in the smog. Small, skittering Zerlock scouts. One hissed softly and warning the others. Cole lifted his makeshift blade. No speeches this time, he muttered. 3 attackers leapt. Cole spun, slicing one across its throat. Blood sprayed, sizzling on the floor. Another clamped his shoulder with pincers, teeth tearing into flesh. Cole grunted, forced his arm free, and stabbed upward, again and again, until the creature collapsed. The third pinned him down, chitin claws crushing his chest. Cole's vision blurred. This could be it. This could be the moment death finally claimed him. He squeezed his eyes shut. A deafening blast erupted. The Zerlock flew apart in a spray of black ichor. Cole opened his eyes, dazed, as silhouettes approached through the dust. Avari wings, Avari armor, Avari weapons smoking, and at the front. Commander Voryx, feathers burnt, armor cracked. Eyes full of something new, relief. You, impossible human, Voryx rasped. You refuse death. Cole spat blood and smirked. Death refused me first. Voryx knelt and helped him stand, the moment charged with silent vows. Soldiers watched, awestruck. Down here in the dust and fire, one truth became undeniable. The Avari didn't just respect him. They needed him. Voryx spoke loudly, so every warrior would hear. This man is no longer outsider. He is Avari by honor. He is our commander. A thunder of wings, a roar of war cries, shook the ruins. Cole leaned close to Voryx and whispered, They think I can win this. Voryx answered just as quietly, I think you already have. Cole turned toward the dark tunnels ahead, where distant screeches gathered again. He grinned, a bleeding warrior with fire in his eyes. Then let's finish what God started. Cole limped forward, supported by Voryx's steady grip. His body was broken, but his will was iron. The Avari squad formed a protective circle around him as they moved through collapsing tunnels. Sparks rained. Walls groaned. Every soldier risked their life for one human. Voryx whispered close. The swarm regroups. They move with new purpose. Cole frowned. Yes, and I can feel it. They're not running anymore. The Zerlock were adapting, becoming smarter, hunting him. A shiver crawled down his spine, a distant screech. Deeper, heavier. Not the swarm's usual cry. This one carried thought. Overmind, Voryx breathed. A leader of the swarm. Cole's grip tightened on his weapon, then cut the head, and the body falls. That is human arrogance, Voryx replied. Cole smirked. That's human strategy. They reached a broken security blast door. Cole pushed buttons that flickered, refusing to respond. He stared for a moment, thinking. Then he chuckled. Okay, let's do it the Terran way. He stepped back. Breach charge! An Avari soldier placed an explosive. They ducked. Boom, the door ripped open and smoke swirling. Cole led the way inside. The chamber beyond was massive. Once a storage hub, now transformed into a hive. Organic slime coated the walls. Pulsing sacks dripped acid. The air vibrated with a low, intelligent hum. In the center hung a colossal creature. Veined wings stretched like living metal, multiple eyes glowing violet. Its mandibles clicked with sinister rhythm. The Overmind. It turned toward the intruders, focusing not on the Avari, but solely on Cole. Cole felt something invade his thoughts, cold, sharp. A whisper in his mind, human. Aberration. You command those meant to kneel. Cole stepped forward, eyes narrowing. I don't do kneeling. The Overmind hissed, venomous. Your survival disrupts order. Cole's heart pounded, rage and fear mixing. Good, he said. Order sucked anyway. The creature raised its massive limbs, hive walls rippling as hundreds of eggs began to hatch, tiny claws scratching from within. Cole's instinct kicked in. Burn them. Avari plasma fire ignited the hive, flames roaring, eggs bursting. The air filled with the shrieks of newborn monsters dying before their first breath. The Overmind roared, psychic shockwaves knocking soldiers off balance. Cole staggered, head splitting with pain. Images flashed in his mind. Humans crying out in destroyed colonies. Earth cities burning, entire worlds consumed. The Overmind wasn't showing memories. It was showing intent. Cole's voice shook with fury. You think you can break us? Humans don't break. Voryx recovered first, wings flaring wide. We stand with the human! Avari soldiers rallied, claws and plasma tearing into defending drones. Cole spotted a cluster of glowing sacs feeding the overmind through thick tubes. "That's its life support," he yelled. He grabbed a plasma grenade from a soldier's belt. "I end this!" Vorik shouted. "Cole!" But Cole was already running. His broken ribs stabbed deeper, his legs buckled, but he didn't slow. The overmind lashed out. A tendril wrapped around his torso and slammed him into the ground. Cole's skull rang, vision blackening. Still, he forced his hand to grip the grenade. Not for glory, not for revenge, for the ones who believed. He snarled through blood. Humanity fights back. He jammed the grenade into the tubes and rolled away. Boom! The explosion tore the chamber, fire and acid splashing everywhere. The overmind screeched louder than anything alive should. The Avari cheered until the creature's remaining eyes fixed on Cole. And it spoke again, voice cutting like a blade. "You breathe because we allow it." Then the walls behind it collapsed, revealing something massive stirring in the shadows. Something worse. A colossal shape, armored heavier than the Prime, rose from the slime. A second overmind. The true leader. This one didn't hiss. It laughed. Cole's breath froze. "Oh, crap." The soldiers looked to him, fear exploding again. His heartbeat hammered, but his voice was steel. "We've come this far. We don't stop now." Avari weapons lifted again. The new overmind leaned forward, voice like thunder. Now, the human dies. The chamber burned like a furnace. Avari bodies lay scattered, feathers singed, armor smoking. The air was filled with the shriek of alien and the groan of collapsing metal. Cole stood at the center of it all, chest heaving, arm trembling from blood loss. He looked up at the towering second overmind, wings made of shifting armor plates, eyes burning violet white. It radiated intelligence, cold, ancient, and it spoke inside his mind. "You are anomaly. A spark that should have faded. Why do you persist?" Cole spat blood, glaring into the beast's glowing core. "Because persistence is all we've got." The overmind tilted its massive head as if curious. No logic, only defiance. Cole smiled through broken teeth. "That's humanity, baby." The overmind extended its claws, arcs of bioelectricity snapping through the air. Cole grabbed Vorix's shoulder and shouted, "Hit the coolant lines. Bring the ceiling down." Vorix blinked. "You'll die too." Cole's voice was calm, terrifyingly so. "Then I'll take it with me." The Avari obeyed. Plasma fire ripped through the metal veins of the chamber. Superheated gas vented, white mist rolling across the floor. The overmind roared, slashing down. Cole rolled aside, feeling claws rip through his leg. Pain exploded. He barely stayed conscious. He forced himself up, limping toward the creature's core. His hand brushed a piece of wreckage. An old Terran beacon cracked but blinking faintly. He froze. A beacon. A signal. "Vorix!" he shouted. "Get me a power cell!" "What?" "Do it! Trust me!" Vorix tore one from his suit and hurled it. Cole caught it mid-run, slammed it into the beacon's socket, and twisted the broken wires together with shaking fingers. The device screamed to life, a frequency so deep it rattled their bones. Above the asteroid, in orbit, the wreckage of the TFS Resolute drifted cold and forgotten. Until one sensor blinked. A voice, machine, ancient Terran tech, whispered through the void. "Distress code 7A Delta, human signal detected." Deep within the wreck, automated systems came alive. Turrets rotated, engines hummed. The ship's AI, long dormant, woke up. Pilot not found. Mission continuity. Protect Terran life. Back below. Cole smiled faintly as he heard a rumble from the skies. Let's see if old Earth tech still loves her sons. The overmind lunged, claws descending, but before they could strike, the roof erupted in a burst of blinding light. A massive beam from orbit tore through the hive, incinerating drones by the hundreds. The overmind screamed, half its body turning molten. Vorik shouted over the quake, "What is this power?" Cole's voice trembled with triumph. "Just human leftovers." He raised his head toward the falling dust and whispered, "Someone wanted me to live." The overmind wasn't finished. Half destroyed, it crawled through the fire, still trying to reach. The chamber collapsed behind them, flames chasing like a hungry beast. Vorix half-carried Cole through the escape passage, wings dragging, armor cracked and smoking. Every breath felt like knives in Cole's lungs, but stopping meant death. The distant roar of the overmind echoed through the collapsing hive. Somehow and impossibly, and the creature still lived. "Cole," Vorix said between gasps, "and we cannot defeat it. Even the ship's wrath did not end it." Cole clenched his jaw. "Then we keep trying." The Avari looked at him with something almost like fear. "You are one human," Vorix insisted. "Your gods cannot save—" Cole cut him off, voice low but unshaken. "I'm not asking God to save me. I'm asking him to show me the reason I'm still alive." Vorix stared, confused yet captivated. He'd seen humans bleed, but he'd never seen one believe like this. The last blast door opened into a massive hangar. The remains of Avari starfighters twisted like scrap metal. The battle had turned the place into a graveyard. Only one dropship still flickered with power, engines whining weakly. An Avari sergeant limped toward them. "Sir, the swarm blocks every escape corridor. We are pinned." Cole wiped blood from his eyes. "Then we carve a new corridor." The sergeant stared. This human, this prisoner, was giving orders like a born commander. Cole felt dozens of frightened, despairing eyes land on him, silently asking the same question. "What do we do now?" He sucked in a painful breath and shouted, "Listen up. We're not dead yet, and as long as I'm still breathing." He slammed a new power cell into his plasma rifle. "No monster decides our fate." A cheer echoed, raw and desperate but real. For the first time in their lives, Avari soldiers believed in a human. The overmind screech thundered down the corridors and closer. The lights flickered. Cole pointed to defensive positions. "You set covering fire arcs. You had to reinforce that door. Vorix, with me." The Avari obeyed instantly. Vorix looked stunned. "You were never a prisoner, were you?" Cole gave a tired smile. "Oh, I was." A very inconvenient one. They braced as the first wave of drones spilled from the tunnels, howling and clawing. Cole opened fire, plasma bursts punching holes through armor and flesh. His body screamed with every recoil, but he kept shooting. The Avari fought at his side, blades flashing, wings slashing. For a moment, they held. Then the ceiling burst apart. The overmind, wounded but enraged, dropped into the hangar like a falling moon. Acid and fire rained. Cole shouted, "Fall back!" As they retreated, the overmind's voice struck his mind again. "Your defiance spreads like disease. They listen to the lesser life." Cole shouted back aloud over the chaos. "They listen because I stand with them." The creature sneered. "You lead through fear." Cole laughed, harsh and breathless. "Fear? Hell no." He grabbed a wounded Avari, pulling him behind cover. "I lead because I bleed with them." The overmind hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty. A human emotion it could not decode. Loyalty, sacrifice, brotherhood. The swarm faltered, reading its master's confusion. Cole saw his opening. "We're getting out of here," he yelled. He slammed the dropship hatch. Engines screamed to life. Even the machine seemed to respond to him, as if it too refused to die. The dropship blasted upward, narrowly avoiding the overmind's claws. Fire below, stars above. Cole collapsed against the wall, blood pooling beneath him. Vorix knelt beside him. "You saved us." Cole shook his head weakly. "No, we saved each other." He looked toward the stars, breath trembling. So much creation out there. Someone had to intend it. Vorix watched him, silently questioning everything he once believed. As the asteroid burned behind them, the Avari crew looked not to their commander, but to their human leader. And they asked the question no alien had ever asked before. "What now, Sergeant?" Cole forced himself upright, pain fading beneath purpose. "Now," he said. "We finished the job." The dropship shook violently as it broke free of the asteroid's atmosphere. hull groaning under strain. Cole held onto the cockpit frame, fighting to stay conscious. The view outside was chaos. The swarm had launched into space, thousands of bioships spreading like a cloud of black teeth. They were blocking every path to safety. The Avari pilot trembled. There is no gap. No escape vector. Cole studied the swarm, mind racing, even half dead. His brain wouldn't stop fighting. Then he saw it. A pocket in the swarm's formation, a weak point forming whenever the Overmind's will flickered. "We go through there," Voryx hissed. "That is suicide." Cole gave him a bloody grin. "Yeah, but it's the only chance we've got." As the dropship dove toward the gap, the swarm reacted, turning in perfect unison. Every drone focused on one target, the human. Plasma fire from the dropship tore the nearest creatures apart, but more kept coming, biting into the hull, ripping at the metal. Warning alarms howled. "Hull breach imminent," Voryx yelled. "We cannot outrun them." Cole stared ahead, eyes burning. Who said anything about outrunning? He turned to the crew, all wounded, exhausted, terrified. "If they want me, they'll have to earn me." The Avari stared. Then, to Cole's shock, they smiled. Not because they were unafraid, but because he wasn't. Cole strapped himself into the rear ramp harness. Voryx grabbed his arm. "What are you doing?" Cole barely had strength to speak. "I draw them off." "You punch through," Voryx's voice cracked. "You will die." Cole's reply was quiet, a calm. "And you will live." He leaned in. "That's leadership." Voryx shook his head violently, claws gripping tighter. "No, you cannot." Cole placed one hand on Voryx's chest. A simple gesture. Brotherhood. "Take them home." The ramp opened, and cold space sucked the air away. The harness yanked Cole forward as the swarm's attention shifted instantly to him, like a star igniting. He fired into the void, every shot precise despite shaking hands. Drones swarmed him, claws scraping, teeth snapping. But he kept fighting. Cole roared, voice carried only in the comms. "Come and get me!" The swarm chased him, a storm of monsters after one bleeding human. The dropship blasted away, engines screaming at maximum thrust. Voryx watched the distance grow, his heart tearing apart. He whispered into the comm, "You were never our prisoner." Cole smirked through the pain, drifting alone among stars and death. "No," he closed his eyes. "You were mine," then silence. The Overmind's distant psychic presence focused like a blade. Cole knew. This was the end. He whispered a final thought, not to the swarm, not to the Avari, to the one who wrote the stars. "If you're still watching, I hope I made the fight worth it." He shut his eyes, ready to embrace whatever came next. Cole drifted alone, a single human against the infinite dark. His oxygen levels plummeted. His vision blurred around the edges. The stars flickered like candles in a dying universe. The swarm slowed, circling him like vultures reclaiming prey. The Overmind's voice slithered through his mind. Finally, silence. Cole forced one last breath. "Yeah, but not yours." He flicked his final plasma charge, a spark too small to matter. But that spark hit a floating fuel cell torn from the dropship. A tiny flash. Then, phoom. A chain reaction erupted, but a halo of explosions ripping outward. Dozens of swarm creatures disintegrated in the blast. Cole spun into deeper darkness, unconscious, falling to fate. For a long moment there was nothing. No pain, no fear. No war, just quiet. A warmth touched his face. Not sunlight, not engines. Something gentler. He heard a voice, sounding faint, steady, familiar. Human biometrics detected. Terran presence confirmed. A shadow emerged before him, metallic wings unfolding like a guardian's mantle. A machine, but not lifeless. The AI core of the forgotten Terran warship. A relic of Earth's courage. It extended a mechanical arm, catching Cole's drifting body before the void could swallow him. Status 1 Terran life preserved. Directive, continue mission. The AI pulled him close and into the battered hull of the TFS Resolute. Cole gasped awake, lungs screaming as oxygen rushed back into them. He stared at the glowing screen in front of him. "Who are you?" The AI's voice held a hint of reverence, as though speaking to a legend. "I am RU-7, designation, Guardian-class support intelligence." "And you, Sergeant Cole Abrams, are now the highest-ranking Terran in this sector. Cole blinked, barely processing. I thought I was dead. The AI replied softly. Not today. A silence shared itself, not empty, but grateful. Cole let out a shaken breath. Thank you. He didn't know who he said it to, the AI. The universe? The one who listens when no one else can? Maybe all of them. From the canopy glass, he saw the swarm still chasing the Avari dropship. Cole's fists clenched. No, not after all that. He staggered to his feet, every bone protesting, but purpose carried him. Rue 7. Weapons? Panels opened like wings. Mass drivers. Missile racks. Plasma cannons. The AI lit the warship symbol, once feared across galaxies. Human Terran forces. Earth endures. Online. Awaiting orders, Sergeant. Cole stared into the stars where his friends fled, a lone human firebrand rising again. He wiped the blood from his eyes. Let's finish what we started. The TFS Resolute shuddered as its engines fully awakened, ancient thrusters glowing white-hot like a reborn star. Cole stood in the command cradle, blood-stained and bandaged, but tall, taller than any moment of his life before. RU-7's voice pulsed through the ship. Enemy vessels approaching, target count thousands. Cole wiped sweat from his brow. Good. Saves me time hunting them. The swarm converged, forming a deadly cloud aimed directly for the dropship fleeing in the distance. Voryx and the remaining Avari, his soldiers, didn't even know he was alive. Cole watched them on a flickering screen. Their hope was dying. He clenched the command rail. No one gets left behind. RU-7 displayed tactical overlays. Weak spots in the swarm formation, energy signatures, drone leadership nodes. Recommend precision strikes. Minimal risk. Probability of success, 42%. Cole exhaled and shook his head. Those aren't Terran odds. He tightened his fingers. We do the impossible. RU-7 paused, as if trying to understand humanity beyond logic. Recalculating. Cole's voice sharpened. Target their command synapses. Hit them where the overmind looks. The AI acknowledged. A cunning suggestion. Tactics updated. The sound of charging cannons filled the ship. The view outside shifted and screen glowing with a lock-on. Cole raised his hand, then dropped it like a hammer. Fire! Thumb! A supercharged plasma spear cut through space, carving a clean path straight into the swarm's heart. Drones exploded like black sparks scattered in the wind. The overmind's shriek cracked through the comms, confused, wounded, angry. Cole grinned. Yeah, feels different when you're the prey, huh? The swarm retaliated, a tide of living ships crashing toward the Resolute. Impact alarms blared. RU-7 warned. Brace. The ship rocked, armor melting under acidic fire, but it did not fall. Cole roared back. Again! Boom, a second beam. A third, a fourth. Entire waves of enemies turned to burning debris. Meanwhile, aboard the fleeing dropship, Voryx stared as explosions lit up behind them. A soldier gasped. What power is this? Voryx whispered, feathers trembling. A Terran warship. But there are no humans left to command such a... He stopped. His heart recognized a signature. The impossible truth. Cole. Their comms crackled to life. Cole's voice, hoarse, battle-furious, unbreakable. Voryx, you didn't think I'd go out that easily. The crew erupted, disbelief turning into cheers. For the first time in Avari history, they chanted the name of a human. Cole! 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 Cole took a shaking breath, their faith fueling him more than oxygen. RU-7, open squad channel. The AI complied. Every Avari ear in space heard the voice of their new leader. Listen up. We don't run anymore. We take the fight to the monster who wants us to kneel. He looked at the Terran crest glowing above him. Earth symbol. His voice went hard as steel. Today, we show them who humans are. RU-7 announced. Weapon systems recharged. Cole pointed into the abyss. Set a course for the overmind. The stars reflected in his eyes like destiny's fire. Earth endures. The TFS Resolute accelerated into the heart of the swarm, thrusters blazing like twin suns. The battlefield turned chaotic. Bioships screeched and rammed, human plasma cannons tore them apart. Metal and flesh scattered into starlight. RU-7 calculated constantly. Trajectory unstable. Probability of collision, 88%. Cole grinned at the odds. Then make collisions work for us. He grabbed the manual control yoke, overriding AI restraint. The ship dove, twisted, rolled through impossible gaps. Cole was no pilot, but adrenaline and instinct turned him into one. RU-7's tone shifted from calm to impressed. Your neural responses exceed recorded human combat norms. Cole snorted. Didn't know I had norms. A massive enemy, a Zerlock Ravager, dove toward them, jaws wide. Cole flicked on the forward thrusters and yelled, "Open the hangar doors." RU-7, warning, that is, Cole, do it. The doors blasted open. Artificial gravity reversed, sucking debris and drones into the Ravager's throat. Then, slam. Cole closed the doors. The Ravager imploded, crushed by thousands of kilos of compact metal. RU-7 paused. A beat of stunned silence. I will update the tactical database. Under Terran lunacy. Cole laughed, a painful, joyful sound. That's more like it. The Overmind felt the shift, its psychic dominance cracking. A psychic scream shook the void. You defy the natural order. Cole's shout was pure human fury. Order doesn't own us. Inside the swarm, a pulsating command node glowed, feeding the Overmind's strength. Cole pointed at it. That's the spinal cord. Break it and the brain goes blind. RU-7 locked missiles. Ready? Cole exhaled. Fire and carve us a road. Missile barrage. Firing 7 warheads streaked through the dark and straight into the node. Kablazam! A blinding explosion rippled through the swarm. Enemy formations broke apart, confused, lost. The Overmind roared, psychic power flickering like a dying star. Cole's voice cut through every Avari channel. This is it. For every life they tried to erase, we end them now. The Avari, wings spread, voices fierce, and answered, for the human. Cole flinched, humbled, emotional, but no time for tears. RU-7's warning returned. The Overmind is relocating to a planetary fragment, preparing a hyperspike weapon. If fired, all life within 300 clicks, Cole finished for him. Dead. Yeah, I've seen that movie. He stepped closer to the viewport, watching that monstrous titan gather power. He whispered into the stars to himself, not again. Not this time. Then louder, RU-7.
Full thrust!
RU-7, toward the weapon? Cole, toward the monster. The AI recognized something in his tone, the unspoken truth. This was the final charge. Understood. Activating last stand protocol. Energy rerouted to weapons and shields. No turning back. The ship surged, a flaming spear of human wrath. The Overmind rose to meet them, wings of bone and metal spreading wide. It spoke one final threat. You die with your faith. Cole stood tall, bleeding, shaking, but unbroken. No. He lifted the Terran crest badge he'd torn from the wreck, pressing it to his chest. We live by it. The Resolute shot into the heart of the battlefield and blazing like a comet of vengeance. Every alarm screamed, shields failing, hull integrity collapsing. Weapons overheating. RU-7 reported the situation mechanically. We will not survive interception. Cole smiled, a fierce, tired smile. We're not here to survive. He locked his eyes on the Titan ahead, the Overmind, a grotesque fusion of bone, shadow, and stolen machines. Its voice shattered space. You are already dead. Cole stood. Steady. No, I am still human. Impact. The Titan struck first, a beam like a black star collapsing. RU-7 shoved the ship aside at the last instant, the blast shredding metal like paper. Sparks rained everywhere. Cole nearly fell, caught himself, roared through clenched teeth. RU-7. Give me every weapon we have. All weapons are at melting point. Then let them melt. RU-7 obeyed. The final broadside missiles, plasma, rail cannons, everything. The Titan staggered, armor cracking, shrieking. For the first time, the Overmind felt pain, but then a retaliatory strike like a dark sun erupted. BOOM! The Resolute was ripped in half, the bridge splitting open to the void. Cole was flung backward, crashing into a console. He couldn't breathe, bleeding heavily, a vision shaking. RU-7's voice became faint. Cole, escape pod. No. Cole laughed through pain. No pods. We finish what we start. He pulled himself to his knees, grabbed a single manual launch lever, a forgotten system. The Godslayer torpedo, a weapon they were never supposed to use. HFY reacted with something close to fear. That device can tear a moon apart. Cole's voice was a whisper, but it carried the weight of humanity. That's the point. He aimed it directly at the Titan's heart. The Overmind roared, "You can't kill me!" Cole, no, but I can end you. He slammed the lever, a flash brighter than all dawns. Shra-thum. The explosion swallowed the Titan. Silence. Only the crackling of dead circuits and fading alarms. Cole collapsed, consciousness fading, stars blurring into darkness. HFY's voice trembled. "You did it, my friend?" Then everything went black. But death did not come. Instead, a soft, peaceful light, floating, weightless. He heard a voice, but familiar, gentle. "The brave do not fall into darkness." A hand, unseen, lifted him upward. His heart steadied. Breath returned. For the first time, Cole understood he was not fighting alone. A heartbeat, just one. It echoed like thunder in a world of silence. Cole's eyes snapped open, and not to chaos, not to pain, but to a soft white glow. He floated inside a strange chamber, weightless again, but this time he wasn't drifting blindly. The light wasn't harsh. It felt alive. He reached out, fingers trembling. His hand passed through nothing, yet he felt warmth. "Am I—" He couldn't finish the question. A voice answered, calm, steady, and impossibly familiar. "Alive?" "Yes, alone?" "Never." Cole turned and froze. Standing beside him was Commander Viral, but the alien leader had been gone, vaporized in the explosion that started all of this. His armor, once battle-worn, now shimmered like crystal. His skin carried a faint glow. His eyes had peace Cole had never seen before. "Viral?" The alien smiled, something Cole had seen he was capable of, but too rarely. "You gave my crew hope when I could not. You taught them courage that was not fear." Cole swallowed hard. "You're dead." Viral touched his chest. "No wound, no blood." "That depends on the definition." Cole blinked, exhaustion making everything unreal. "Where are we?" Viral looked upward, into the light. Between, a pulse of energy rippled across the chamber. The walls were not truly walls, more like a horizon of memories swirling into each other. Earth-blue oceans, sunrise over Manila boot camp in Houston, his mother's hand on his shoulder. The first time he saw the stars, the day he swore to defend them. Every moment he had lived was here, stitched into the space around him. He felt small. He felt infinite. He felt seen. Cole whispered, "Is this heaven?" Viral placed a four-fingered hand on Cole's shoulder, gently. "A doorway. Yours is still open." Cole tried to breathe deeper. The atmosphere tasted like truth. "Why am I here?" Viral's expression softened like a general kneeling before a soldier. "Because you refused to let fear decide who you are. And because someone had to remind the universe why humans are impossible to conquer." Cole clenched his jaw, emotions swelling in his chest. "I didn't do it alone." Viral smiled wider. "You believed in others. That is why they followed you." The chamber pulsed brighter, a voice deeper than galaxies whispering. "Not done. Not yet." Viral stepped back, and his form shimmering like stardust ready to rise. Cole reached out. "Wait. Don't go." Through a soft, warm glow, Viral's voice echoed. "Live. Lead. And when the stars quiet again, we will meet." The chamber disintegrated into light. Cole gasped as cold air hit his lungs. He jerked upright, metal beneath him, alarms whining softly. He wasn't in the afterlife anymore. He was aboard an unfamiliar vessel, but not enemy. Sleek architecture, illuminated patterns, Avari design. His wounds were gone. His bones no longer screamed. The door hissed open. Zira rushed in, eyes widened, breath shaking, then stopped dead like her heart forgot how to beat. "Human, you're—" She couldn't say the word. Cole slid off the medical table, unsteady for a second, then straightened. "Alive," he finished for her. She stared, disbelieving. "We saw the explosion. We believed you were—" Her voice cracked, something rare in her species. Cole took a soft step closer. He tried humor, shaky but real. "Good news. The rumors of my death were greatly exaggerated." She didn't laugh. She reached out, hesitant, and touched his arm as if confirming he was real. "Cole Abrams," she whispered. He noticed the insignia pinned to her armor, once Commander Virel's, a designation of leadership. Cole's throat tightened. "You're in command now." Zira shook her head slowly, eyes never leaving his. "No, we only held it. For you." Behind her, more Avari soldiers entered, battle-worn, respectful, hopeful. Every one of them lowered their head in acknowledgement. They saluted him. Not as a prisoner, not as an enemy, as their leader. A tremor of disbelief shook Cole's voice. I'm not even your species." Zira's answer carried the weight of a new future. Leadership is not blood. Leadership is the fire that refuses to die. Cole exhaled, a single tear escaping before he could hide it. In that moment he understood. He had no rank here. He had no uniform. He had no home. Yet these warriors, aliens who once caged him, now stood ready to follow him into hell itself. Something greater than survival bound them now, faith in him, and in the one who had given him one more dawn. Cole straightened, shoulders square, voice strong again. "Then let's finish what we started." Zira bowed her head. "As you command, Captain." Cole stood at the center of the Avari command bridge, a tactical holomap burning beneath him. The galaxy stretched in red scars. Every colony, every ship under swarm control marked like infected wounds. HU7's voice went softer now, almost human, echoed from a rebuilt console. "Residual overmind nodes detected. Command structure fragmented, but recovering." Zira added grimly, "If we hesitate, it will rise again." Cole studied the star patterns, systems he had only heard about, some he had bled in. So many lives lost, too many. He looked at the alien soldiers around him. They waited, not for orders, for promise. Cole didn't raise his voice, but every syllable struck like steel. "We end this completely, no more running." The holomap shifted, highlighting a dead zone, a lifeless moon on the edge of nothing. There, the remaining overmined heart pulsed underground like a malignant organ. Cole pointed. "That's our strike." Zira hesitated. "If we fail?" Cole answered without blinking, "We don't." Silence, then nods. Respect. Trust. Humanity didn't conquer by domination, it conquered by conviction. Preparation. The Avari dropship, once Cole's prison, became the spear point of liberation. Engineers welded Terran weapons into Avari frames. Plasma fused with railguns. Cultures merged at bolt and screw. RU-7 hovered over Cole, tightening armor plating. "Your vitals remain unpredictable." "We're fighting a galaxy eater." "Unpredictable is an upgrade." RU-7 paused as if processing humor. Then, "I am glad you live," Cole smirked. "That makes two of us." Zira approached, armored, resolute, holding something wrapped in dark cloth. "I believe this belongs with you now." Cole unwrapped it slowly. A Terran captain's insignia, recovered from the wreck of the Resolute, polished clean. Zira fixed it onto his chest herself, a gesture signifying allegiance. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Lead us, and we will follow to the last breath." Cole nodded, silently promising he would spill his own breath first. The descent. The dropship screamed through the thin atmosphere of the dead moon, thrusters burning against gravity. Swarm spires erupted like black thorns toward the sky, structures pulsing with sickening life. They crackled with psychic energy, twisting the planet's crust like it was soft clay. Every soldier on board gripped weapons and hearts alike. Cole stood before them, not towering, not armored like a giant, simply human. That was enough. He spoke, calm but carrying fire. "When we land, we don't look at what we're afraid of. We look at who needs us alive." Their breathing steadied. He continued, "We fight not because we hate the enemy, but because we love those who still hope." Every head lifted higher, and then softly, almost to himself, Cole glanced at the black sky above. "Someone's kept us. Alive for a reason." Zira watched him, confusion and wonder mixing. "Does your God give orders always?" Cole smiled slightly. "No, but he knows how to nudge." Ground impact. The dropship smashed into a landing zone of bone and metal. The doors blasted open, and hell answered. Monstrous swarm creatures lunged, rows of jagged teeth, wings stitched from nightmares. Plasma beams lit the air. Avari shields flared like energy storms under attack. Cole charged first, rifle blazing. Aliens followed, roaring battle cries that once terrified humans, but now reinforced them. RU-7 floated above, shredding enemies with precision tracking fire. Zira fought at Cole's side, blade spinning, precision perfect. Cole's lungs burned and horror, but his heart surged forward. A creature tackled him, snarling inches from his throat. Cole rammed a plasma dagger upward, its skull ignited in violet flame. He pushed the corpse aside, in breath sharp, adrenaline relentless. He wasn't just fighting monsters anymore. He was fighting fate itself, the threshold. A colossal gate loomed, organic and mechanical, beating like a heart. Psychic waves radiated from it, shaking the minds of the soldiers. Some aliens stumbled, gasping, fear forced into their skulls. Cole stepped forward, fists clenched, veins burning with defiance. He slammed his hand against the gate. "If you want fear," he snarled, "pick someone else." The structure quivered, recoiling, as if the universe itself remembered. Humans fear nothing for long. The gate split open. A tunnel of pulsating flesh led downward into the core. RU-7's scan buzzed. Residual overmind presence confirmed. "It waits." Cole tightened his grip on his rifle. "Good, let it." They marched into darkness, but no one's eyes fell. Because Cole walked first. Because hope walked with them. Because when humans rise, even nightmares retreat. The deeper they descended, the colder the air became, not physically, but in the soul. Whispering voices slithered along the walls, scraping against consciousness. RU-7 dimmed lights to cut through the blackness. Caution, telepathic interference increasing. Zira pressed a glowing sigil on her armor, mental shielding flickering online. "It wants us afraid," she said. Cole breathed slow. "It's terrified." The tunnel opened into a vast cathedral-like cavern, a chamber of living machinery. A core of swirling void pulsed at its center, held by bone-like pillars carved with grotesque symbols. That was the last overmind. No single body, no face. Just a vortex, a mind big enough to poison stars. When it spoke, it wasn't sound. It was everywhere. "You are a mistake." Cole flinched, like someone punched the deepest part of his heart. The overmind continued. "You should not exist. We offered evolution. You chose chaos." Cole lifted his rifle, voice like gravel and fire. "You call freedom chaos. Freedom is a virus. Humans are the contamination." Cole took a step forward. "No, we're the cure." Creatures spilled from the walls, a tidal wave of claws and teeth. The chamber exploded into combat. Zira slicing through swarm beasts, RU-7 blasting precision arcs of fire. Avari soldiers pushing forward despite injuries and fear. Cole fought his way directly toward the core. Every attack felt heavier. Every breath felt like a stolen miracle. The overmind slammed into his thoughts, images flashing, human cities burning, Earth falling silent, his mother weeping at his tomb. It whispered like rot inside a wound. "You cannot win. Humans break. You break." Cole staggered, knees buckling, chest tight. He had broken, many times, but every time, he stood back up. He whispered through clenched teeth, "We're still here." Cole lifted his weapon, aimed at the heart of darkness, and fired. The overmind shrieked, a psychic scream splitting reality. The blast cracked its core, light bleeding from the wound like spilled suns. Zira yelled over the chaos, "Cole! It's destabilizing!" RU-7 scanned rapidly. Structural collapse imminent. Creatures faltered, their minds losing command, confusion infecting them. The overmind wailed, "We are the only order. Without us, the stars will die." Cole stepped closer, eyes burning with something the overmind could never compute. Hope. "You don't get to decide that." He holstered his rifle. He didn't need a weapon for the final blow. He placed his hand, just a human hand, on the core's surface. The darkness seared his flesh, trying to corrupt him, drown him in visions of failure. He whispered, "Not luck." He remembered the warmth that saved him. A hand he never saw. A voice he couldn't explain. Someone wanted me to live. A light, soft, calm, infinite dawn surged through him. The overmind screamed, What are you? Cole answered, a believer. A shockwave erupted, tearing through the chamber. Light devoured darkness. The core shattered, disintegrating into star-like embers that drifted upward as if forgiven. The swarm collapsed, leaderless, silent. The war ended, in a breath. When the dust settled, Cole lay beneath falling fragments of crystallized void. His armor was cracked, but his heart beat steady. Zira knelt beside him, helmet off, eyes shining. You did it. Cole coughed a tired laugh. No, we did. RU-7 hovered, lights flickering. Confirmed. Universal swarm signal terminated. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was quiet. Not the quiet of death, the quiet of dawn. Zira helped Cole to his feet. What now, Captain? Cole looked around. Avari soldiers tending to wounded, embracing survival, whispering thanks to a god they didn't yet understand. He gazed upward, through the broken ceiling, at a sky full of stars reborn. He breathed in a world allowed to live, and answered, now, we rebuild. He placed a hand over his chest where the insignia rested. And we protect this peace together. They marched back to the dropship. No chains, no ranks, no species divide. Only one army, one purpose, one hope. As the engines roared and the ship lifted toward the stars, Cole whispered a final word, meant for the one who had given him another sunrise. Thank you. The stars shimmered, like a reply,